Hey guys, so welcome back. So in this video, let's briefly show you Ansible configurations and where you can find help inside server where you have installed Ansible. So basically, Ansible configuration file is Ansible config file. It's a very simple to remember, easy to remember file. etc Ansible config. It's one critical important aspect about Ansible's configuration is the default Ansible configuration file is in, as I showed you, etc Ansible, that's the home of Ansible configuration. But just in case, if you copy this configuration file inside your current working directory, that being said, you have another Ansible configuration in your current working directory. So now whenever you run anything related to Ansible, this particular configuration file will overwrite the default configuration file. That's the beauty of Ansible configuration file. So that is one important aspect I wanted you all to know. So now if you see, let me see what are all this particular configuration file is excessively verbose. A lot of comments are added. So if you see at it basic form, all the things that's not commented. So what you have is a set of sections. You do not have any configuration that is available. So everything in this particular configuration file is default. So but what is important is this configuration file is divided in different sections. So all configurations that are part of default are under default section. So let me tell you what I mean by this. So now defaults, as you see, default, this is the default section. So all default configurations are under default sections. This is very important. So you cannot put a configuration that is tagged to a particular group in another group, then that configuration will not take any effect. So you have to be very careful when you put a configuration. You not only need the configuration name and the possible value that you're going to set, you also need to know in which group, under which section you have to add that configuration. So that is one important section that you need to understand. So though this current configuration file is completely commented out, there is not a single configuration that is overridden. Everything is default here, but that the defaults, the group still exist. So that is one important point. Few of the important configurations that you can see in default sections are fork. This is like how many parallel executors of tasks that you want Ansible to perform, whether you want sudo user. Polling interval is the interval which Ansible server polls for a successful activity. So there are a huge amount of configurations, and there are very meaningful defaults that are already set. So only when you need any particular non-default value, you have to uncomment that configuration and put the correct value. So there are a lot of online documentations that can help you. So that's Ansible configuration. Next, what I wanted to show you in this video is the help that you can get from Ansible installation itself rather than going online. So Ansible doc is the documentation for Ansible. So if you list Ansible doc and with -l list everything, so obviously there are a huge amount of modules available. So what is module? So every Ansible task or play, sometimes we call it a task, sometimes we call it as a play. It's a single functionality that Ansible performs. So that is implemented by Ansible module. So every piece of functionality automation that Ansible does, there is a corresponding module for that. So Ansible talk-l list out all the modules that's available. It's a huge list. So what I can do to show you is just grep out the Windows one. So we have a lot of Windows modules available, which can help me perform a lot of window-based tasks. That means tasks that can be performed on window clients. So just to show you, it will be quite a list. So my understanding. And then if you want to have any detail about a particular module, what you need to do is you need to again run Ansible doc with the module name. Like here I've mentioned more yum module, but I could have easily done a win my module, the name which comes here. Just very brief description about that. If you want a detail about that documentation about that module, what you can do is you can pass that the module name to Ansible doc, and it will give you a detailed description of that module. This is almost like a man page, so it's nothing new. The operations and how to use is almost similar to man. So putting a Q will take you right out of that document page. So that's it for this video. Hope you enjoyed and learned something. Thank you.